Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to another video on the Losey channel, and today, for once, it's not a Jake Paul in KSI slash Tommy View video, it's actually a video on a new gem in the influencer boxing scene. But however, before we go into this video, you've got to make sure you like, subscribe, comment and share the video, or you're going to get karma for the rest of your life. So anyways, let's jump into it. So, NichLmao boxed Jay Swingler last night in a very entertaining fight for Nick. Nick had showed, he's only been boxing for 6 months. He showed a lot of skill in there. And we'll talk about what he had well. Straight away, from round one, you could see he had the composure. He looked very chilled. It looked so natural to him. And for 6 months in this boxing scene, to have composure like that and being chilled, it's a very skilled thing to learn, and you shouldn't really learn it that early. He looked a natural in the sport, and he did all this after 6 months. It's quite incredible, and it almost makes you question, has he been boxing for 6 months only? Has he just been saying that? But he has only been boxing for 6 months, and you saw him box against Jarvis, spar against Jarvis, and I thought, looks like Jay will just go straight through him. But Jay didn't have a good night on his for his skill level. Didn't have a good night last night, and he said it was the pressure and that got one. But you can't take anything away from Nick, because Nick's tactics and awkwardness, how he was, made that fight a very tough fight for Jay, and Jay said it was a tough fight. But imagine NichLmao, a year and a half of 2 years of boxing for this YouTube boxing scene. He could be here, he could go up to there. You know, he could honestly be one of the top dogs in the sport, and he's got the background with 20 million subscribers and stuff. He can be a force in this, and I hope Misfits signs him, and I think a rematch would be phenomenal to see with them too. But he had really good head movement and reflexes. Like, Jay was throwing, he was just like back like that with hands up, and he was just like, Jay was coming and Jay was like jabbing, and then he was throwing a shot, he was like down, and Nick's head was just down like that. And he's the first guy in the YouTube boxing scene who's been boxing for less than a year who was doing shoulder rolls. I could not believe it. I was so impressed with NichLmao, and that's why I had to make this video. It was going to be a breakdown, but I was like, Nick has become a star. That gem overnight. He's the new star of YouTube boxing, and it's really good. And he looked a better boxer than Jay. Jay was very raw. He's raw in there. He fights on aggression and speed. Like, you'd also say he's got a type of like a Mike Tyson style. Obviously nowhere near Mike Tyson, so don't get me words twisted, but he kind of tries to fight a bit like Mike Tyson, and he likes them shots to go, and he's quick and stuff. And to be honest with you, Nick had capitalised with Jay's rawness, with throwing shots. As soon as Jay was getting where he wanted to be, he would grab him and they'd get in the clinch, and the referee would break it. And that is superb tactics, very smart tactics to frustrate Jay. And it would have, I know for a fact, I know this, because even when I've sparred and stuff, and people do this to me when I'm trying to get in close in the lotto line, it does throw you off the little game plan you have set, and it annoys you. And that's what Nick had done very well last night. And to be honest, a great game plan from Nick, and it was a very good learning fight for Nick, for that being his first fight, and for Jay being his second fight back. It was very good learning fights, because Jay went from knocking out that Shirley, whatever he's called, in the first or second round, to going to a 4-round hard fight where both men had to show a lot of heart, which they did. Nick can definitely go far in this scene, as he has the attributes that you need. If he had a bit more cardio, I thought he could have pushed on a bit more in the fight as well, but he didn't. But you got to give Jay credit, where Jay was the fitter man in there. It looked like in the second round Jay was tired, but then when it got to the third and fourth, Nick was absolutely shattered, and that's where I think he had lost the fight. But Nick did, however, show a lot of heart in the fight, and that is something you cannot teach in boxing. You can't teach this. It's impossible. You got it or you don't got it. And Nick absolutely had it, because he dug in tired, and Jay dug in as well. In my opinion, if you ask me who I think won the fight, I think Jay just edged it, in my opinion. People are saying draw. Some people have if the fight went either way, I don't think you could have complained. I think the right result was Jay just nicking it for me. But some people think different. That's just from watching it once. I haven't watched it back since. But I do believe Jay did win the fight, so I don't think I could have disagreed with that. I would love them to run it back, as I've said, and have a rematch. As I feel like it would be an even better fight, the rematch, because Nick would say another 4 or 5 months on, maybe a bit less, and he'd be good, and Jay would be another thing on. Maybe you run it in Nick's country, because Jay said he thinks he'd be better not fighting his hometown because he feels the pressure on his shoulders. And as I was saying before and earlier in the video, it really makes us question, like, has Nick only been boxing for 6 months? Because he was absolutely incredible in there last night. Like, he looks better than some of the people that's been boxing on the YouTube scene for about 2 to 3 years. Like, honest, it was really good. But ultimately, Jay did get the win. But Nick should be very, very proud of himself. He done a great job last night, and I would love to see him return in the boxing ring, and I'm sure he will. He said, "Oh, me and Jay can tag team now." I think that was just a joke. Jay's on this solo road to wanting that Gibb fight, but he's gonna have to do a lot better if he wants to beat Gibb. And I'm sure he will take a couple more learning fights before he goes to that Gibb fight. And I think Nick has got the world at his feet. It was a super middleweight fight. He's a very old super middleweight, Nick, and I want to see him get a good fight for himself and come up this YouTube scene and see where it can go. But guys, thank you so much for watching. I hope you enjoyed the video. This was a video I really wanted to make, as when I was watching the fight, I was just really happy. And I was shocked. So I'm happy about that. But guys, thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you in the next one. That'll be tomorrow. Goodbye.